Be Your Best You, the Passionate to Purpose podcast with David Delaney. So good morning, Mary Pat. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, Dave.
Mary Pat, tell me, where in the world are you right now?
In the world, I am in a small village in South Kildare called Moon. It is close to the Carlow border and about an hour from Dublin. It is my place of origin. I haven't always lived here, but I've been back here for quite a number of years now.
Okay. Mary Pat, tell me briefly the story of you. Who is Mary Pat Moloney?
So, the story of me, in a way, I've been trying to get rid of the story and just be I am. But however, that wouldn't work too well for an interview if I just left the silence for the rest of the time. So I'll go back to the story for you. I am a woman. I am an only child that was, I suppose, really, really wanted and treasured. And I think everything of who I am has been to some degree informed by that. I was always in no doubt as a child that I was adored. And I suppose in ways, I think that is probably something that gives you the ability to believe in yourself, you know?
Cool. It's a really tough question to start with, so I'm sorry about that. Well, stay going.
So I suppose the story, within the story of me, I would have had an impulse, even as a small child, for things creative. I had, a couple of memories would be one, I remember, I'd say I was around 4, going to a field day with my parents and seeing children dressed up for a fancy dress. And we didn't know that was going to be there. So they rushed me home and put a few clothes on, helped me with it. And I wanted to be an old woman. And I remember going down as the 4-year-old hunched over and participating in that. But even at the age of 4, having that impulse that I needed to change my body to do that, and loving that becoming something else. Okay. So that's very, it was very early for me to want to do those kinds of things.
Okay. So you've done quite a lot. People would know you as an actor. People would know you as Mary Pat, who set up Croi Anu, the wonderful little centre in Moon. What did you want to be when you grew up? Did that fit in? So when you went to, I suppose the fancy dress and the development of characters age 4, was that something that was always in the back of your head? I'm going to do this and I want to be, or is that something that you decided later in life? This is the career path for me. Did you always go on that path?
No, I think at this school conditioned some of that kind of thing out of me in a way, and I didn't necessarily think that was something you could do. So by the time I had left school, I thought I'd like to be an occupational therapist, or I'd like to be a Montessori teacher. And they were the two things at that point. And when I left school, I trained as a Montessori teacher. And it's actually a lovely training, and it's a lovely way of working with children. But I had a very definite moment in a class with children. One day they were having their break, which at the time was milk and a biscuit. And I sat there and thought, this is absolutely lovely. It's a lovely thing to do with your life, but this is not actually what I belong to. you know, in a way. And I just thought, I have to think about this.
Okay. And what happened then?
I did a theatre studies course in Maynooth. It was an extramural course at the time, and I was doing amateur dramatics at the time, all right. But I actually thought I really want to look at this a little bit more, a little bit deeper.
Okay. Um, uh, the last 12 months, okay, they've been particularly challenging for, it's fair to say, for everyone around the world. And while I don't want this to be focusing on the negatives and people like that, but using, I mean, the actor, like, what challenges have you had? I mean, in your profession, we'll talk a little about Croi Anu in a sec, but as an actor, primarily in the last 12 months, what have been the major challenges for you, and how have you overcome them?
Well, there is not any acting at the moment. You know, the only people, in my view, who would be working at the moment, you were on a very big movie, if you were, you know, and had that already lined up. I don't, obviously theatre is completely gone. And a lot of other film work would be gone as well. Anything that's lower budget, you know, just can't afford that, all of the safety requirements. So so it has just been pulled away. And in a sense, because I have some other things that I do, in a way, I have allowed the actor to sleep for a while. I did get a call to do a piece for Culture Night in Carlow. And I remember at the time just thinking, God, this is marvelous, because there was nothing happening. And the joy of having something just, you know, even a short piece, it was wonderful. So at least I've dipped into that. A guy I know did a monologues challenge online. And so I took part in that, again, to keep the muscle oiled, to just be doing something. And that was, you know, good to do as well. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me, Mary Pat, on the journey, so from the acting course, where Croi Anu is a centre that you dreamed, and it came into existence a number of years ago. Tell me about Croi Anu.
So when I got the vision for Croi Anu, if you like, I was working freelance, Dave, and I was facilitating a lot of community arts courses, really, and trainings and that kind of thing. And I was teaching drama to children. I was just doing a number of different things. And a lot of the time, it seemed that the places that I went in to do these things, you know, were less than ideal for what I was trying to do. I was moving furniture, I was moving computers, I was, you know, it was all kind of in a compromised situation. And I just felt that if there was a space that would support the work I was doing, how great could that be? Because what was happening in the very compromised spaces was already good. It was wonderful, you know, and people were wonderful, because really it's about the people at the end of the day. It's what you can share in that communion of creativity. So this building is beside my home. It was a garage that my father had. It was, you know, repairing cars and things like that. And so it was full of oil, full of everything. And I thought, you know, this could be something. And I remember distinctly coming into it one day when it was still oily and all of that, and actually sensing people coming here, you know, and I really felt like it was really strong feeling. And I just thought, God, you know, if I'm sensing them coming, well, then I have to do it. whether I like it or not. You know, it's,
Yeah.
you know, they're here already in a way,
Yeah.
and I just have to fulfill that, you know. And while, and it's a wonderful space, but I mean, it was absolutely, you know, of course, the thing became bigger and it became more expensive than I had anticipated. And it, you know, I know many people thought I was crazy in a way. And, you know, in like, from a lot of perspectives, it was crazy, you know, but nonetheless, you know, I still, I'm glad I got it, you know, and of course, Croi Anu is closed now as well.
How did you react to someone that says, okay, so Mary Pat, in your own space, I have this dream, I have this, I'm in this space, I'm creating this, and someone comes along and says, you know what, you're crazy. What did you say to them, or what did you say to them in your head? Like, how did you react to someone saying you're crazy?
Probably said, yeah, you're right. You know.
Okay.
I just think, yeah, I think it's, you know, just let it be, because like people are not always going to agree with you anyway. People are, you know, and what's right for me may not be right for somebody else, and that's fine. So I, rather than kind of get into an argument with that, I just would let it go.
Okay. And then those people probably have been to the centre since and probably have enjoyed it and said, you know what, she was right.
Well, I remember one lady, I did work with Older Voices Kildare, and I remember talking about doing it to a group that she was in. You know, they were saying, what else are you doing? And I was saying, oh, I'm going to do this. And they were very positive and very encouraging about it. And when it was open, some of those ladies were down here, and I remember one of them, and you know, saying to me, at the time, I didn't like to say it to you, but I thought you were mad. You know,
it's human nature. It's human nature.
I can't believe I'm sitting here now. You know?
It's class. It's class. I just want to shake up the questions a little bit, Mary Pat, and just totally random. What's your favorite song and why?
Oh,
sorry.
I find that a next to impossible question, okay, because my favorite song on any given day could be different.
Okay.
And would be influenced by my mood on the day. And I like many different genres of music and that kind of thing. So, I mean, it's very hard. I can't pin it into, you know, a favorite.
Okay.
Too limiting.
If I were to ask then, is there a particular lyric of a song that matches life for you? For example, some people, I myself, I love Enya. Wild Child is a song that I love. And there's some lyrics in that song that no matter what day I'm in, I'm kind of, no matter, I'm a bit the same, I can't pin one particular song. But sometimes there's a lyric that carries through. And I said, you know, that's, you know, that's something that I strive to live by. Is there a particular lyric in any song that might stick out for you, that you say, you know, that's me, that's working for me?
I like a lot of Leonard Cohen's lyrics, but I mean, I can't, there's not one for that will always resonate for me. You know, I picked a song, like I like Rooftop Lullaby, Jack L's Rooftop Lullaby, Today.
Yeah.
That's my favorite song, Today.
Well,
that's
good.
The best I can do for you.
You
know what I mean?
That's good. That's good. That's all we're asking on this podcast. You know, it's about being the best every day and being the best for yourself. If I were to ask you again another pretty random question, if I were to give you a magic power for one day, what would you do with it? What would it be, and what would you do with it?
I would wave it first. And I would allow everyone to see their own greatness in its fullness for 10 minutes. And I think if everyone could see that, I think that would be enough to eradicate things like greed, there would be no need for it anymore, you know. And you know, in the ripple of that, I think could bring amazing things. That's what I would do.
That's a magical response. Thank you. So in what's next? What's now? Now I know obviously we have at the moment we have different restrictions, and these podcasts we're actually talking to people around the world, and the restrictions, if you want to call them that, are different in every country. So obviously in Ireland we have the level 5, which is the restrictive restrictions at the moment. So when things start to dare I use the word normal, I don't like that word, but what's next? What's next from Mary Pat Moloney? What's next for Croi Anu? What's the next step on the journey for you?
Well, now, even before, you know, before things open up, at the moment, I am actively working on a piece of work called The Velvet Revolution of Light. Now, to just give a context to that, my other work outside of the creative work is the healing arts. And I suppose in a way, Croi Anu is a space where the creative arts and the healing arts meet. And on any one day, it could be either or both of those that are here. But my part in that is sound, working with sound as medicine, working with sound as healer. And a length of time ago, I trained with the College of Sound Healing UK. And it is possible at the moment. I've been collaborating with a lady called Jane Donald, and we have come up with this sound healing piece. A number of years ago, a lady said to me, we were to work together, and I said to Jane and said, do you feel any energy in that? You know, and she said, absolutely, we are. That's really true. So I think in about 2018, we started to write this piece. Jane really is bringing it through, composing, and I am, and she has no background in music or anything like that or sound, but it's flowing through, and then I give voice to it. And I am hoping, in terms of as a response to what's happening now, I am hoping that this will be able to help quite a number of people, Dave. Okay. You know, it's recorded and we're doing workshops with it. We have a CD, we have we send the MP3 out to people if that's what they would prefer. And we are working on the next part of it now as well ourselves. So between trying to grow the first part for other people and to bring through the second part, that's quite a body of work, you know. And it's wonderful to be doing that at the moment.
Excellent. And can people find that on your website? Is the...
They can indeed, yeah.
That's croianu.ie?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mary Pat, what does success look like to you?
What does success look like to me? It's just, I think it is a contentment within. It's at the same time remaining active enough in the world that I want to go for the next thing, that I have the courage to do that, and there's always going to be difficulties or obstacles, and it's you know, believing that, you know, if I want to do this, I can, and it's worth it. And it's having those as many moments of happiness as possible. Okay. It's success is having time for friends. It's you know, it's kind of a mix of those things.
Okay, which leads nicely into, if I were to say to you, if I were to ask you, what would you say to your 15-year-old self?
Have fun. and be brave, and nobody is better than you, but you are not better than anyone either. Believe in yourself. I think that's about it.
Okay, well, wonderful. I'm not going to ask you very many more questions. I've given you a bit of a grilling, and thank you for
I know I've been able to live through it.
Okay, but I am going to ask you, and it leads nicely time-wise. I am going to ask you one last question, and I think this is probably the one question that I feel I'm obliged to ask everyone, as we're doing this with people around the world, and what we want to show is right now there's one thing that connects us all, and I think it's fair to say that that's humanity. You know, we all have our challenges in different ways, but there's one common thread that no matter where we are, and some of the advice, and I'm going to take up, I'm going to listen back myself to some of the things you've said, and it's it's something that we should all, you know, we should all take heed and just step back and you know, what would you do? What would you say to your 15-year-old self? And that answer was wonderful. Mary Pat, who inspires you and why?
Yeah, I am inspired by Michael Chekhov. That's not a living person now. He's passed, but that's the person who developed the technique of acting that I have taken on board, if you like. And that, I suppose, his work for me embodies the way I want to be creatively. Working from the imagination, not so much a place of limitation, and radiating levels of love out to the world through the acting, through your love of the character, through your love of the piece you're working on, through your love of the audience, all of those levels. Because I mean, at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, love is all there is. So who, you know, in terms of my inspiration, it will always be, where are they in that love piece, you know, and I suppose what he has given to the world in terms of acting, for me, is totally inspirational.
Excellent. Mary Pat Moloney, thank you.
Thank you, David.
And that's it for this morning's episode of Be Your Best You. Thanks to Mary Pat for joining us. You can check out www.croianu.ie. Join us next time on Be Your Best You.